Reading practice in B2 English level. Imagine it's 7 in the morning. You're eating breakfast, scrolling through your phone, replying to a message from your boss, and reminding your kid to pack their school bag, all at the same time. You feel productive. You feel like you're getting things done. But let me ask you one simple question. Do you remember what you just ate? We live in a world that celebrates busy people. We admire those who can handle everything at once. We put multitasking on our CVs like it's a superpower. But at the same time, we forget things. We make more mistakes. And we finish the day feeling exhausted without really knowing why. So which is actually better, doing many things at once or putting all your energy into one thing at a time? That is exactly what I want to explore today. Multitasking means doing more than one thing at the same time, or switching back and forth between tasks very quickly. Think of it like watching 3 TV channels at once by pressing the remote every few seconds. You're not really watching any of them properly. You're just jumping between them. There are 2 kinds of multitasking. The first kind is when one task is automatic, like listening to music while you cook. Your hands stir the pot, your brain enjoys the song. That can work fine. The second kind is when both tasks need your brain, like writing a report while attending an online meeting. That is where the problem starts. So, if multitasking causes problems, why do we keep doing it? 3 reasons. First, society tells us that being busy means being valuable. If you're not juggling 10 things, people might think you're lazy. So we multitask to look productive. Second, our phones are designed to interrupt us. Every notification, every ping, every little red bubble gives our brain a tiny shot of dopamine. That's the same chemical that makes us want to check again and again. It becomes a habit we don't even notice. Third, multitasking gives us the feeling of progress. When you have 5 browser tabs open and you touch each one, it feels like you're moving forward. But feeling like you're moving is very different from actually getting somewhere. Here's something I'm sure has happened to you. You're writing an important email. Then a message pops up. You look at it, just for 1 second, then you go back to the email. But you've lost your train of thought. You rewrite the last sentence again. You rewrite it. You're not sure if the tone is right anymore. That 1-second distraction just cost you 5 minutes. And that happens dozens of times a day. Here is something many people don't know. The human brain cannot truly do 2 complex things at the same time. When we think we're multitasking, we're actually just switching between tasks very, very fast. And every time we switch, there is a cost. Think of your brain like a kitchen stove with only one big burner. You can put 5 pots on the stove, but only one pot gets the full heat. The others, they're either half-cooked or getting cold. Multitasking is putting 5 pots on one burner and hoping for the best. Scientists call this the switching cost. Every time you move from one task to another, your brain needs time to reload, to remember where you were, what you were thinking, and what you need to do next. It's like a computer that's slow because too many apps are open at the same time. Research suggests that after a single interruption, it takes around 20 minutes to get back into a deep state of focus. If you're interrupted 3 times in an hour, which is very easy these days, you've lost your ability to think deeply for the entire hour. And it's not just about time. The quality of your thinking also drops. When you multitask on something that requires real thinking, writing, planning, solving a problem, you make more mistakes, your ideas are less creative, and you forget details faster. There's a study from Stanford University that found something surprising. People who multitask a lot are actually worse at filtering out distractions than people who rarely multitask. In other words, the more you practice jumping between things, the harder it becomes to stay focused. It's like a muscle that gets weaker the more you ignore it. The person answering emails during a meeting, checking their phone while talking to you, and managing 5 tasks at once is not the most productive person in the room. They are the most distracted one. You already know what focus feels like, even if you haven't thought about it that way. Think about the last time you were completely absorbed in something. Maybe you were cooking a meal and you kept tasting and adjusting. Maybe you were writing something and the words just flowed. Maybe you were playing a game and 2 hours passed like 20 minutes. That state where you forget about everything else and just do the one thing is called deep focus. And in that state, you do your best work, not just faster work, better work. A good hairdresser doesn't check their phone while cutting your hair. They look at every strand, adjust the angle, check the symmetry. That's why their work is precise. A great cook doesn't attend a video call while making a dish. They smell, taste, adjust the heat, feel the texture. That's why the food tastes different. A student who closes the door, puts their phone in another room, and studies for 2 focused hours will understand and remember more than a student who studies for 6 hours while watching videos and texting friends. These are not special people with special brains. They simply give one thing their full attention, and the result shows. Here's the key insight. Focus is not about working longer. It's about working fully. 2 hours of complete, uninterrupted attention will give you more than 6 hours of scattered, half-present effort. This is why some people seem to do so much while working fewer hours. It's not magic. They're just protecting their focus time. Sunlight on a normal day won't burn a piece of paper, but focus that same sunlight through a magnifying glass onto one small point, and within seconds it catches fire. Your attention works the same way. If one of the tasks is automatic, something your body can do without thinking, then combining it with something else works perfectly. Walking and listening to a podcast, doing the dishes and calling a friend, riding a stationary bike and watching a lecture. In these cases, multitasking is not stealing from either task because one of them doesn't need your mind. But the moment both tasks need your brain, writing, reading, analyzing, designing, having a real conversation, multitasking stops working. You cannot write a good email and truly listen to a meeting at the same time. You cannot solve a difficult problem and have a meaningful conversation at the same time. Your brain cannot split its attention without losing quality on both sides. A simple rule to remember: If one of the two tasks needs you to think, do them separately. If neither needs you to think, then sure, do them together. You can absolutely have many goals, many projects, many responsibilities in your life. But when you sit down to work on one of them, give it everything. Block out the noise, put your phone away, close the extra tabs. For that window of time, let that one thing be the only thing. This is the difference between being busy and being effective. Busy people do a lot of things at once. Effective people do one thing at a time, but they do it completely. Remember that breakfast this morning? The one you ate while scrolling, replying, and half listening to the news? Tomorrow morning, try something different. Put your phone down. Just eat. Notice the taste. Notice the temperature. Notice how you feel. It sounds small, but that small act of giving your full attention to one thing, even just breakfast, is the beginning of a very different way of working and living. So, to answer the question we started with, multitasking is not always wrong, and focus is not always easy. But for any work that requires real thinking, real creativity, or real quality, focus wins every single time. Don't try to do everything at once. Do each thing, but do it properly. That is not a limitation, that is a skill. And in a world full of distraction, it might just be your greatest advantage. Before I finish, I have one challenge for you. Today, pick the one most important thing you need to do. Set a timer for 45 minutes, turn off your notifications, and give that one thing everything you have. Then compare how you feel at the end versus a normal day of switching between 10 things at once. You'll have your answer. Thank you.